Julian Council, Locked On Panthers, good enough to join us. Yo, man, how are you?
Good, Matt. Good, man. Just sitting here seeing Sharon Moore just got fired. So, my God, this college football thing never takes a break.
Man, I was sharing with our audience, Julian, that I got a call on Saturday. I mean, you know how this works. Your rumors and reports and just stuff. But I got a call on Saturday from someone I trust, but still almost impossible to believe, who told me Moore was going to get fired for cause for having an inappropriate relationship. Actually gave me some more details that I'm not going to share because that's rumor at this point. But and that Kalen DeBoer was going to be the top target. So, I mean, I just kind of rolled my eyes and, head patted the person. But, damn, the more unbelievable part of the story is already true. I mean, so Michigan's open. And if they're able to get DeBoer away from Tuscaloosa, maybe after the playoff or whatever, Michigan, Bama might be open. What if Marcus Freeman does take the Giants job? Then Notre Dame would be open. My God, this, that would be three, maybe the three biggest brands in the sport open all at once. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. And too, isn't DeBoer, aren't they kind of not happy in Tuscaloosa? Because they just had a bunch of people leave there to go to Oregon State. I get they're West Coast guys, but you're leaving Tuscaloosa, go to Oregon State after 2 years?
I don't know. I don't have a great sense. I mean, I don't know Kalen DeBoer at all. I don't know, but it does make sense, right? If you're primarily a West Coast person, it's just different down here, man. But whatever. We've seen it before. I mean, Dennis Franchione was at Alabama. He left to go to Texas A&M. Bama people didn't take kindly to that, but sometimes it's just a cultural fit that needs to make sense for a coach to be happy or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. We'll follow it. But that's definitely an incredible layer to the coaching carousel that we weren't expecting after it seemed as though the Kiffin domino fell, everything else fell in place, and it felt like it was done. It ain't done, man.
No, it's never done. And can I just say this real quick before we talk about Panthers and Saints and all of that?
This is way more
Bryce
interesting.
Underwood, is this possible? I understand last year it was tough, but could he now maybe be an LSU Tiger with all the that's going on? I know Larry Ellison's got the money and all that, but come on.
We just talked about it in the last segment before you came on.
Okay.
How do you rule it out? I mean, how do you rule it out? Hey, by the way, he had 9 touchdowns and 6 picks. Tough as a freshman, I get it, but
but he had the Michigan coaching. He had Chip Lindsey, who was calling plays for him. Being a North Carolina guy, I saw what Drake May looked like with Chip Lindsey.
Right.
So I'm just saying, Lane Kiffin's a little different thing,
right.
man.
No doubt. All right, Julian Council's with us, Locked On Panthers. All right, let's talk about this game and these teams, man. Look, the last time they played was incredible. Carolina was coming off a win at Lambeau, and the Saints went and plucked them. You picked them off there in Charlotte. Now Carolina's tied for the division lead. They got to come down to New Orleans. Give me the finger on the pulse right now going into this game for the Panthers, who were freaking tied for the division lead.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's actually funny because when I came on a month ago, you asked me what did Carolina need to do to win this game.
We played the soundbite.
Just show up.
Yeah.
I said just show up, and honestly, they must have been listening to the interview because those dudes did not take the Saints seriously the first time around. Ike Ekwonu literally told us in the locker room, the attention to detail wasn't there throughout the week. So you're telling me that the Carolina Panthers, had the audacity to not be prepared to take a team lightly? Who do y'all think you are? And now fast forward to today, they're coming off yet another big win.
Yeah.
Pre-bye week against the Rams. And they're tied for this thing, and looking at just how Tampa is trending, which is not good. Maybe, I know Vegas is not doing it, and it would be kind of foolish for me and you and really anybody to do as far as looking at Carolina being favored to win the division at this point in time, because I'm just not quite sure there. But there's it's interesting. The guys in the locker room, they're having that maturity about the situation. They're not trying to get too big-headed. They understand that they're in full control of their playoff fate, but they know there's an opportunity here, and they can see blood in the water as Tampa's come back to them.
Is Bryce Young good?
That's the question we ask ourselves every week, man. 1 week, it's, wow, Bryce might be the guy. The next week, it's oh, my God, this guy's awful. And we are right now at the stage of Bryce might be the guy.
Right.
Is it going to circle back to, oh, buddy, this guy is terrible? Because you look at the game against Green Bay, he didn't really do anything, but he did make enough plays on that final drive to set him up in field goal range to get the win against the Packers. Then the Saints said, hey, can you beat us? And Bryce said, absolutely not. And all week after that, people were asking about whether Bryce was the right guy, how they were out on him, and all he does is throw for 448 yards, something that Cam Newton never did, something that Jake Delhomme, Louisiana guy, never did as well. And then we're right back to, okay, maybe Bryce is it. So I don't know. Like, I look at the quarterback market this offseason, whether it's guys come out of college, which I'm not really excited about any of those guys. And Carolina's probably not going to be in position to get anyone if there's anyone who's worth getting, honestly, in this draft. And then just the veteran market, you're going to trade for Mac Jones and think that's going to work out better for you. So he's probably back next year anyways. It's just as far as what they want to do with the fifth-year option, which they don't have to decide that until May. So right now it's really not a point that needs to be made, but I would think that that may be the best thing for them to do. So is he good? Some weeks, yes. Some weeks, definitely not. Most weeks, he's just okay.
Yeah. Julian Council's with us, Locked On Panthers. Does having the late bye mean anything, or what does this mean for Carolina at this point, coming off the late bye?
It's good for those guys to finally get not just a break, like physically, I just think mentally too, because you got to be locked in for that's been 20 straight weeks that these guys have been going at it since you look back at the end of July when they reported to camp. Was actually in the locker room today talking to Tedero McMillan about it. And he said it was actually perfect for him because looking at a college season, like the college season just ended, the regular season 2 weeks ago, and the Panthers kind of have their bye week right around the same time with conference championship weekend. So he felt like it was pretty normal. So for him to be able to get now a break, it's a little different, I would think, though, as far as college and the NFL, like a lot different. So he felt like it was actually a good time for him. And they haven't really been that banged up. Jaycee Horn, he's in concussion protocol. Tomorrow's a big practice when they have the pads on for him to show that he's ready to go. By all accounts, sounds like that will be the case. And other than that, Rob Hunt is another guy they're looking to get back at some point in time. He won't be available this week as he's still on IR, but they talk about opening up his window. So just getting some guys a 1 week break, knowing back in May they saw that schedule, like, damn, it's going to be a grind just to get there to week 14 to get that break. So I just think it's just a nice reset mentally and physically, as this team also knows what's right there in front of them, and they can focus in game to game and making sure they close out the job here in the NFC South.
How different is Carolina than the team that the Saints saw in Charlotte on November the 9th?
Same team, man. That's the thing. They're the exact same team that they saw. Now, one of the focuses certainly will be on Sunday is finding a way to run the ball. And Dave Canales talked about that today where they really struggled was blocking at the second level. That was getting a hat on DeMario Davis, was getting a hat on Pete Warner. They didn't do that the first time around. They're going to absolutely focus on making sure that gets done. But this is a team, as we've seen this season, they can beat just about anybody. I think the Rams are the best team in the NFL. I thought going into that game, clear and away, this is the best team in the league. They're going to win the Super Bowl. And they go out there, and Matthew Stafford, who had thrown 28 straight touchdowns without an interception, throws a pick six on the next drive, throws an interception later on, gets strip sacked by Derek Brown and close that thing out. And I was just stunned that this team could rise up and beat somebody like the Rams after some of the awful offensive performances we have seen so far this season. Now, I give New Orleans a lot of credit. While this is obviously not a good football team, there's enough veteran leadership, especially defensively, where these guys have continued to play at whatever standards possible for their level of the roster is at this point in time. So this is a Carolina team that has already shown that they can lose to New Orleans, even when they were a one-win team back a month ago. So the Panthers are good enough to beat anybody. They're also just average enough to play down to their competition, if we can even say the Carolina Panthers are playing down anybody at this stage of this rebuild. But still, yeah, they're pretty much the same team that you saw a couple weeks ago. It's just which team is going to show up.
There's 2 games left against Tampa. So Carolina controls its destiny with what they want to do, but the same is true for Tampa. So there's a game against Seattle sandwiched between the 2 games against Tampa. So how big, as you sort of play out the final month, right, this scenario, how big is this game Sunday against the Saints for Carolina?
Depending on what happens tomorrow night, this game could be absolutely massive. And it still is either way. But, like, if somehow the Falcons get it done, Carolina, all you got to do is win their next 2 games, and they've won the division with 2 weeks left, which is just an insane proposition. Now, it's the same case for Tampa. If Tampa takes care of business and Carolina goes and loses to New Orleans, which certainly is possible. Like, I'm not going to count that out. And Tampa wins next week. They take care of business. Now, when I look at things as far as just the tiebreakers in the NFC South, Carolina cannot win the common opponent tiebreaker. So if there's a way where they end up splitting with Tampa and both teams end up 10-7, meaning Tampa takes care of Atlanta, of course, you get that win against Carolina. They beat Miami. Carolina wins this Sunday against New Orleans. They get a win against Tampa, beat Seattle. If they're both 10-7, 4-2 in a division, Tampa will have the common opponent tiebreaker, and that will be solely based off of really the game against Arizona in Week 2 that Carolina lost. Because the Cardinals are a 3-10 football team. That's a team you should have beat. Tampa Bay beat them by 3 a couple weeks ago. But that will be the game that really haunts them in the end. There's a possibility if it's the Lions or the Bears that they fall apart that they could maybe get that 7 seed and win a tiebreaker there, the wild card. But that's pretty far fetched, I think, at this point in time. So yeah, this game's important, but really, the 2 games against Tampa are the ones you got to have.
Yeah.
They can lose New Orleans, but as long as they beat Tampa twice, like, they're going to be totally fine. They can lose to Seattle. As long as they beat Tampa twice, they'll be totally fine to win the division. So, yeah, it's important. You don't want to come off of a bye, come off of another big win, and fall flat like you have multiple times so far this season. So, yeah, it's important, but there's other games out there that could actually be more meaningful just looking at all scenarios over the next month.
Get him on Twitter at Julian Council, Locked on Panthers. Great week to go check out the pod if you haven't done it yet, as the Saints getting ready to take on the Panthers at the Dome Sunday, 3:25 Central. Okay, man, we always appreciate it, man. Thanks. Have a great one. Enjoy the game Sunday.
Yep, take care, Matt.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.